The film begins with a hotel called Soul Kitchen, which also happens to be the title of the film. The hotel's owner is a young man named Zinos, who runs the entire establishment. He was now a little sluggish. Nonetheless, he used to do all of his work very well. He was also the chef here, which means he used to cook food. He had a great sense of taste and used to cook delicious meals. Every night, his hotel was flooded with customers. One of the reasons customers came here was also, aside from the delicious food, the prices were also very low. Together with Zinos, the other hotel employees were also shown. One was a waitress, the other a pub owner. One was an elderly man who was homeless, which meant he did not work there. But he used to get a free place to live. Zinos also has a close friend whom he adores. Lucia was her name. She was the wealthy businessman's daughter. Even though they were in a relationship, but there used to be a fight between them after a while. Lucia, for example, desired to complete her studies in Shanghai. Zinos, on the other hand, did not want her to go there. Now, when Zinos was closing the hotel and heading home one night, he ran into a childhood friend here. His friend was a big investor and businessman, and as a result, he was wealthy. He tells Zinos about himself and then inquires about him. "What are your plans?" When Zinos says "I own a hotel," he means I run the entire establishment. Hearing this, his investor friend says, "Okay, fine, I'll visit your hotel sometime." He walks away from here after saying this. Zinos went to a large hotel the next night. Because Lucia and her entire family had arrived for dinner. They were also known as Zinos. This hotel was both good and pricey. Everything is fine for the time being. Nonetheless, Zinos and Lucia begin arguing about something. Lucia's mother, tired of their argument, yells at both of them to sit quietly and eat comfortably. As a result, both parties must end the fight. Now, another guest at this hotel, who dislikes food and is also cold, summons the chef and informs him that the food has no flavor and is also cold, so you should try something else. However, the master chef, who is also the head chef here, refuses to do so. Because he was a little arrogant and had his own will, and he didn't like the idea of someone ordering me. When the customer does not listen and yells at him, the master chef becomes enraged as well. He stabs his knife on his table and says, "Eat quietly what has been served to you. There is no need to remove flaws." Because of the chaos, the manager is now required to attend. When he finds out about the situation, he fires the master chef. Zinos, who had been watching this for a long time, finally spoke up. This is something he is interested in. He became interested in this and quickly left the hotel. And begins conversing with the master chef who is standing nearby. He offers him a position in his hotel's Soul Kitchen, saying, "You work in my hotel." It was agreed upon by the master chef. But says I'll be back in a few days for the job. Zinos and Lucia were spending time together at night. Lucia is leaving for Shanghai the next morning. She assures Zinos that she will keep in touch with her. The next morning, Zinos drives her to the airport. Zinos bids her farewell by wearing a stone on his heart. He expresses his love here once more, saying, "I love you very much, try to come back soon. Then we'll tie the knot." Lucia, as she was running late, so she bids him farewell and departs from there. In the following scene, we see a prisoner serving a year in prison for robbery. This prisoner was discovered to be none other than Zinos's brother. However, he was addicted to gambling, which is why he stole. However, because he had a good relationship with the other inmates, as a result, he was housed in a good jail. He is also given many privileges, such as the ability to leave jail on weekends and do whatever he wants. But he had to return before the next morning. he goes to Zinos to meet him on the weekend evening, where Zinos is both pleased and surprised to see him. Here, his brother approaches Zinos and requests a job in his hotel. He claims that if I have a job, the jail staff will frequently grant me such leave. As he says this, he pulls the agreement papers from his pocket and instructs Zinos to take it and sign it right away. Hearing this, he begins to think and appears perplexed. And he refuses to sign because he does not want to get into any trouble. However, when his brother begs him repeatedly, he has to listen to his brother, and he also loves his brother, so he signs the agreement. When Zinos was picking up something heavy in the kitchen the next morning, then, all of a sudden, he began to feel pain. Because he had a hernia that was causing him a lot of pain, he began to suffer. Zinos's workers tell him to go to the doctor because he is in pain, but he refuses. He also becomes enraged and claims that he does not have health insurance. I will have to endure such agony in order to treatment. When he was talking to Lucia late at night, she recognized Zinos's recognized inquires as to why you are so concerned today. And he tells her that his hernia is hurting a lot as a result of the injury. Lucia recommends that you see one of my friends who is a good doctor of bones, tissues, and muscles. She will undoubtedly give you sound advice. Okay, fine, I'll go, but let me tell you something, I miss you a lot. And my heart yearns to meet you, and I hope to meet you soon. Lucia responds, but this cannot happen because I have been here for 6 months. I am unable to come before that. Zinos becomes depressed after hearing this. But then he adds, what if you can't come? I'll come to you, Shanghai. The following day, Zinos purchases a large number of books from a Chinese bookstore in order for her to foreignese. Following this, he visits Lucia's friend doctor, who performs a Frensug examination of him, and then recommends that she see a surgeon right away. Otherwise, this issue of yours may worsen. However, Zinos was unable to do so due to a lack of health insurance. He tells the doctor, no problem, I'll bear this pain for a while. When the doctor hears this, he instructs him in some exercises, so that Zinos can do it on a daily basis and avoid Daler chef finally arrives at Zinos' hotel the next day. First and foremost, he examines the menu, which indicates what foods are available in Zinos' hotel. But when he looks at the menu, he is disappointed because he does not like it. He throws away the menu and tells Zinos, in my opinion, all of this is garbage. So instead of cooking this garbage, I'll create my own menu. When Zinos refused, the Moss chef quietly exited the room. However, Zinos was unable to cook due to his pain, so he was forced to listen to the master chef. Both were conversing when the tax officers arrived. A female tax officer informs Zinos that your tax has significantly increased and that you must pay it immediately. However, because he lacked the necessary funds, the tax officer then removes her musical system and takes it with her. As a result, the hotel employees must sing there themselves. All of the customers who used to stay at the hotel have returned this evening. However, when they discover that the menu here has been completely altered, felt bad and became irritated as a result. They begin to demand the previous food, but the master chef clearly refuses to prepare those food. Refuse all customers. Hearing this, all of the customers felt bad, so they all stood up and left. As a result, the entire hotel is deserted. Now that he sees this, Zinos feels bad and becomes enraged. That's why he tells all of his employees to go home. And because there were no customers in his hotel, he had to close it. One was the hotel's tension, and the other was the pain of his hernia. Zinos was unable to walk properly as a result of this. His friend, the investor, arrives while he is lying down. He takes Zinos out of the house after a brief conversation, where he shows him all of his property and business worth millions. Then his investor friend says, "Zinos, I'd like to buy your hotel. So that after purchasing it, I can completely disassemble it and then, by investing money in it, I can fix it up, and if I can get a good price for it, I'll sell it." Hearing this, Zinos is saddened because, despite being my friend, but despite keeping an eye on my belongings, he clearly refuses to sell his hotel. The hotel was obviously like his family to him, it was a kind of home for him. This night, the rest of the employees play that in the hotel. However, this time he had brought many large musical instruments with them. As a result, the volume of their music was quite high. And upon hearing this, many people from the surrounding area enter the hotel. As a result, their hotel is once again full. Now that everyone was hungry, they asked for food. Because Zinos is unable to cook, he summons the master chef and invites him to the hotel. That is when the master chef begins to prepare his food. He prepared a variety of dishes that everyone enjoyed. For starters, they tasted good, and each dish was presented in a unique way. The food was so delicious that all of the customers were taken aback. Which appeared to be their hotel coming back to life after it had died. Similarly, after a few days, where people began to enjoy the hotel's food, environment, and music. Here, Zinos's brother began to take his work seriously as well. He used to do an excellent job. When it came to Zinos, he still wanted to visit his friend Lucia in Shanghai. As a result, he was looking for a manager to take care of the hotel after he left. It is obvious that that person must also be truthful. And because Zinos believes the waitress is ideal for this job, he inquires about it with her. "Will you be the manager of my hotel after I leave?" She flatly refused, stating, "I want to be a painter." Tonight, a large number of people arrive at the hotel. All of the workers and Zinos were pleased but also surprised to see their number. However, they discovered that a music festival was taking place nearby. As a result, people are eating at their hotel rather than going out. As the number of customers grows, all of Zinos' employees begin work. While the master chef begins to cook food. He did his job so well that he was able to serve food to all of the customers. And then, in a short period of time, his hotel becomes the most well-known in the area. As a result, Zinos begins to make a lot of money. He also put money into his hotel. And by changing it, he has already made it better and more interesting. In his spare time, he was also learning some cooking techniques from the master chef. We are also quite surprised by his abilities. Meanwhile, Zinos' friend kept telling him over and over, "That sells your hotel to me." However, when Zinos flatly refused him, he was met with disappointment. After a few days, we noticed that Zinos had made his decision. He appoints his own brother as hotel manager rather than anyone else. He did not make this decision because he believes his brother is trustworthy. Apart from that, he didn't have a choice. The following day, both brothers go to the property office and sign a contract. Zinos put his brother in charge of everything in his hotel. That means that when he leaves, his brother will take care of the entire hotel. In addition, Zinos had given his house to his brother to live in. The following day, Zinos arrives at the airport, but as he moves forward to the waiting area, he is surprised to see his sad-looking friend Lucia there. She hugs him and tells him that her grandmother died, which is why she had to come here. "And now I'm returning." Hearing this, Zinos relaxes her, takes her in his arms, and says, "Okay, wait for me, I'll also bring my luggage. After that, I'll accompany you to Shanghai," but Lucia ignores him and walks away. As Zinos began to pick up his heavy luggage, he began to experience back pain due to his hernia. He collapses, and his condition worsens to the point where he is unable to stand due to pain. That is why he was rushed to the hospital. where the doctor informs him that the operation must be performed immediately. But, until now, because that poor man lacked health insurance, that is why he asks the doctor if he will live without the operation. So, how will it go? I'm sure I'll be fine. The doctor responds, no, you will not be fine. On the contrary, your hernias will continue to grow, worsening your situation. And you will be unable to walk because of the pain in your back. But because he has no other option, he gives Zinos some medicines and requests that he rest completely. As a result, Zinos has decided not to go to the hotel for a while. During this time, he kept attempting to contact Lucia. He called Lucia numerous times, but she never answered the phone or contacted him. She seemed to want to get away from Zinos or to be hiding something. Zinos had no idea why she was doing this to get answers to his questions. He visits her house, where her grandmother's funeral is taking place. Zinos came here to find out why Lucia was torturing him. She is now in a relationship with someone else. Zinos becomes enraged when he sees them together. He screams a lot at first, then attacks that man, causing a commotion. There was a lot of destruction, which caused the coffin to fall down. People in the area are terrified after witnessing all of these situations. Zinos's brother was doing a good job running the hotel. Everything was going swimmingly. However, Zinos's friend, the investor, arrives to cause havoc and challenges Zinos's brother to a game of cards. Zinos's brother is the first to win some games. So he believes that fate is on my side today. So he started playing bets, which is gambling, and he started losing. Similarly, while losing, he is trapped in a €100,000 loan, which he could have paid in one of several ways. That if he had given Zinos's hotel to his friend, the investor, it would be clear that it was all part of the cunning investor's plan. They then went to the property office. They must also sign the agreement. Following this, the officer sitting there informs them that the owner of this hotel will become an investor starting next week. The next day, it was revealed that Zinos had finally returned and discovered the bad news about the hotel. His heart breaks and he feels bad, so he yells at his brother a lot. But then he stops himself, because he was in so much pain that he lacked the courage to act. Nonetheless, both brothers attempt to enter the investor's office so that he can steal the contract paper that will cancel this agreement and give them the hotel back. They got that contract paper after finding a little, but as they were leaving, the police arrive. When Zinos's brother sees the cops, he starts running away. But Zinos' condition was such that fleeing was out of the question, he couldn't even move. They are apprehended as a result of this. After a few days, it was revealed that Zinos had been released. His brother, on the other hand, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for previous crimes. That is why the two brothers say their final goodbyes from the bottom of their hearts. Zinos is released from jail as a result of it. The next day, Zinos seeks treatment for his back pain from a doctor who used to treat patients by moving their bodies, which was once frightening. Zinos went there and was terrified, he couldn't move. Lucia's friend, the doctor who has now become Zinos' friend, encourages him on it. Do not be afraid, work with courage, and you will be fine in a minute. So the doctor lays Zinos on the ground before tying his legs to his waist with a rope. There was a sharp prick in Zinos's bone as he pulled the rope. Because of it, his pain subsided in the next second, indicating that his treatment was completed today. He was now completely fine. The following scene depicts the time after a few years. Zinos used to work as a hotel chauffeur. Lucia came to meet Zinos one day and said, "Let's go to dinner." When these two were at the hotel, Lucia claims that I have brought you here to apologize for deceiving you. I'm ashamed of what I've done. She claims that I ran away from the airport that day because I was saddened by my grandmother's death, and the man with whom I am in a relationship. We met each other in China and developed a friendship. I adore him, Zinos, and please forgive me. Zinos is saddened to hear this, but he forgives her once more with a heavy heart. Following that, he asks her about the next plan. When Lucia says, "Soon, I'll go back to that boy in Shanghai because we're getting married." Zena's heart was broken, but he agreed. Zenos's brother was now in jail, but everyone there admired him greatly. The investor was then shown to arrive at the same jail because he was detained by a tax officer, because one friend had not paid the tax and he had proof of manipulation of money. Zenos now learns that the government has taken over Seoul Kitchen. So he is pleased and decides to repurchase his hotel. He goes to Lucia and asks for money because he doesn't have any. Because Lucia was already ashamed of defrauding him, so she writes a check for 2 lakh euros to Zinos. He is overjoyed after receiving the money. He purchases the property and reopens Seoul Kitchen. And now he works more diligently in his hotel, prepares delicious food, and he feeds that food to his one and only customer, who was none other than the doctor Zinos had become friends with, and they both liked each other. Both were relieved to be able to eat delicious food and stay at Seoul Kitchen Hotel again. This is the end of the film.